We have all been there. You're staring at an exam, your heart is just pounding, and then poof, your mind is completely blank. It's such a terrifying feeling, right? Well, today we're going to dig into the science of why that happens and, more importantly, how you can actually take back control.
I mean, really think about it. You've put in the hours, maybe even weeks of studying. You know this stuff. You walk into that exam feeling pretty good. And then you look at the first question, and nothing. It's just gone. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, I promise you, you are definitely not alone.
And you know what the worst part is? The second you step out of that room, it all comes flooding back. Every single formula, every date, all the key concepts. It is so frustrating. But here's the thing. That sudden memory recall is actually a giant clue about what's really going on inside your head. So this isn't just you having a bad day or a bad memory. This whole experience actually has a name. It's often called the blank mind phenomenon. And it's all about how our brains deal with stress. And to really get it, we need to look at the ideas of thinkers like the late Dr. Ibrahim El-Fiqi.
Dr. El-Fiqi had this fascinating theory. He said that when we're studying, when we're absorbing facts and solving problems, we're using something he called the analytical mind. Just think of this as the calm, logical library part of your brain. It's built for learning and for remembering things.
So let's imagine your brain has these two different modes that are kind of competing, especially when you're under pressure. On one side, you've got that calm scholar, the analytical mind. And on the other, you have the instant reactor, the emotional mind. Understanding this little tug of war is the absolute key to solving this whole exam mystery.
Okay, so let's break this down. The analytical mind. That's your brain's library. It's calm, it's logical, and it's where all that stuff you studied is neatly filed away. Then you've got the emotional mind. Think of this as your brain's emergency alarm system. It's built to react to stress, to danger, and here is the most important part. It has zero information stored in it. It's all impulse, no data.
So, what happens when you're sitting in that exam room? The clock is ticking, the pressure's on, and your brain basically sees this as a threat. That feeling, that anxiety, is the trigger for a pretty dramatic shift in who's in the driver's seat of your mind. See, when you're studying at home or just thinking calmly about something, your analytical mind is totally in charge. It's accessing all your stored knowledge, it's making connections, it's solving problems. Everything is running smoothly, just like it should. But that intense stress of an exam completely changes the game. That feeling of panic isn't just you being nervous. It's a real physiological response, and it triggers a mental takeover. Your brain essentially hits the big red panic button. And this is the critical moment. Just like Dr. El-Fiqi explained, when that stress spikes, the emotional mind hijacks the entire system. It literally shoves that calm, logical, analytical mind out of the way and takes control, getting you ready for fight or flight. And here is the whole problem in a nutshell. The part of your brain that is now in control, that emotional mind, is the one that doesn't have any of the answers. All that information you studied is locked away with the analytical mind, which has been totally sidelined. That's why you go blank. You're trying to access a library with a brain that's in full-on fire alarm mode. Okay, so that's the problem. But what on earth is the solution? Well, it's actually surprisingly simple. The goal isn't to get rid of the stress entirely. It's to switch your brain back into the right mode. And the whole strategy really just boils down to one simple thing. Start with what you know. The moment you feel that panic start to rise, here is your two-step game plan. First, scan that exam paper and find the absolute easiest question on there. Don't even think about it too much. Second, start solving it. Just do it immediately. So why is this simple little trick so incredibly powerful? Because by doing that, you're sending a direct message to your brain. You're basically proving to it that there's no real threat here, that, hey, we've got this. That one single action is enough to kick off a whole positive chain reaction. It really creates this powerful domino effect. You answer one simple question, and that forces your logical, analytical mind to wake up and start working again. Your stress level immediately starts to drop, and that act of calming down is what unlocks the gate to all the other information that you studied. So the takeaway here is actually pretty profound. That first easy question isn't just about getting a few points on the board. No, it's a strategic move to wrestle back control from your panicked emotional mind and hand the reins back to your knowledgeable analytical mind. You're not just managing your memory, you're managing your mental state.
Which leaves us with this final thought, right? We spend so much time cramming all this information into our brains. But maybe, just maybe, the real key to success isn't only about how much you study, but how well you can control your own mind when it really, truly matters the most.